A tanker carrying propane crashes near Echo Reservoir. Tonight, what we're learning about the cloud of gas seen after the accident and the evacuations that followed.
Complaints about a building now at the center of a homicide investigation in Salt Lake City. Why frustrated neighbors say they feel their concerns weren't heard.
Sheriff's Office, can you hear me?
Plus, a dramatic rescue caught on camera after a truck crashes into an icy Wyoming river.
A storm is here just in time for New Year's Eve, but who's going to get the snow and who's not? We'll have the forecast coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Did you see that? Oh my God. Holy cow.
A precarious situation as that tanker rolled, dangled over a bridge before falling into a ravine in Summit County, leaking propane and forcing evacuations. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kelly Chapman. New tonight, we're learning just how dangerous that crash on I-84 was, not only for the driver, but first responders and everyone in the surrounding area. Fox 13's John Franke is live near the Echo interchange, where the accident stopped traffic in both directions on two major highways. John.
Well, hey, Kelly, the good news tonight is that all directions of both I-80 and 84 are open again tonight, but they were closed for hours, and let me show you why. You can see the tanker there in that ravine. It fell off the side of the road, and it still sits there tonight. Now, there's no danger to the public anymore. This happened around 1 o'clock this afternoon and created some very tense moments in this area.
What in the world?
That's not okay.
This is video captured by a Fox 13 viewer just seconds after a truck carrying 2 tanks full of propane crashed on the interchange from I-80 to 84.
I just saw it go boom.
I didn't see that.
Holy cow.
Moments later, the driver of the truck emerges from the smoke.
He's running.
Is he okay?
Is he saying go away?
He appears to frantically warn passersby to stay away.
You can see the vapor down inside the valley.
Captain Tony Stowe with Salt Lake City Fire is an expert in these hazmat situations and understands why the driver acted fast.
And those people were actively driving right through a flammable gas field.
One of the tanks punctured after it went over the side of the road. The other turned on its side. The initial threat caused Utah Highway Patrol to shut down the roads and evacuate the town of Echo.
That can be catastrophic.
UHP is investigating, but they're relieved. The only major problem this caused was a disruption to traffic.
That can be very, very volatile.
The outcome could have been much worse.
You just see that huge white cloud, and if that ignited, that's going to be a huge, huge fireball.
And the driver suffered only minor injuries. He was the only person hurt in this accident. UHP is investigating, but they say that speed is most likely a factor. And this is a warning that over this holiday weekend to be careful on Utah's roads. Reporting live in Summit County, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Amazing, everyone. It's okay there. John, thank you. An update now to a story we've been following about crime in the Ballpark neighborhood of Salt Lake City. After voicing their concerns multiple times to city leaders and police, residents there are growing more frustrated after a triple shooting and murder. Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher has the story you will only see here.
And we now know from charging documents that everything started inside this building, a building that next door neighbors say they've been trying to bring to the attention of police for months.
It absolutely confirmed our fears.
It's happening right outside my front door, so I'm obviously frustrated.
Months of calls and complaints about this building on East Kensington Avenue crescendoed last week. A man shot dead in a car, 2 others hurt by bullets from a fight police say that started inside the building.
Well, I wouldn't say I was surprised based on some of the awareness that I have about what's been going on over there lately.
Clay Banasic says he started calling police regularly about this exact building months ago.
Sometimes multiple times a night.
He and others say a new tenant moved into the commercial space and appeared to be living there.
They started to bring in a fair amount of activity into the neighborhood that was quite noticeable, especially outside my front door with regards to, finding needles in the alley and things like that. They were also throwing these ungodly massive parties, several hundred people, to about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Things as small as loud noise at 3, 4 in the morning. There's actually been gunshots heard before from that building. I've personally witnessed people going in the building, coming out, sitting in their cars and smoking some type of substance out of a pipe. And I've called the police on issues like that.
The problems escalated, they say, to attempted break-ins and burglaries at the townhomes next door. A third person told us he filed several mobile app reports and even wrote a letter in September to different city departments outlining the problem, saying if left unaddressed, this will develop into an unmanageable issue that the police department and other city officials are left to try and deal with. The issues coming out of this property have skyrocketed to the point that residents here feel unsafe and unhappy living here.
I know that Kensington Street is an area that we are very aware of, yes.
But cracking down on a problem property, police explain, can be challenging.
And going and busting down a door and making an arrest on a small misdemeanor drug charge is a Band-Aid. To build a good case, it takes months.
Even if they do make arrests,
you book them into jail and then they're out fairly quickly. So that there's another reason why it may look like nothing's being done, because we're constantly arresting the same people, booking them into jail over and over again.
They say people calling over and over helps, even if it doesn't look like it. For Nate and Clay, things didn't move fast enough. Ultimately, someone was murdered steps away from their homes.
We've been calling for 10 months and nothing ever changed. So at what point does that turn into action?
I wasn't necessarily upset with anybody's behavior, but it never really happens as quickly as you want it to.
Neighbors are at least hoping that what they saw last week was the worst of it, that maybe new tenants will move in, and they're hoping that things will improve. In Salt Lake City, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah Congressman-elect Burgess Owens is now joining in on an attempt to challenge the presidential election results next week. Owens will be among a handful of Republican members of the House and Missouri Senator Josh Hawley to contest the Electoral College results in Congress 1 week from today. Senator Hawley's joining in on this effort now forces a debate and a vote on whether to accept President-elect Joe Biden's victory.
These are normal folks living normal lives who firmly believe that they have been disenfranchised. 74 million Americans are not going to shut up.
This comes as President Donald Trump's campaign launches another last-minute Hail Mary effort in court. Trump's team appealed their most recent loss in the Wisconsin Supreme Court to the U.S. Supreme Court, seeking to toss out more than 50,000 absentee ballots from heavily Democratic districts. New at 9, we have just received dramatic new video of an ice rescue in Wyoming over the holiday weekend. You got to see this.
Sheriff's office, can you hear me? Okay. I can hear him in there, Bobby.
Wow, Sublette County, Wyoming Sheriff's deputies were called out on a truck in the Green River just south of Big Piney. Deputies confirmed the man in the truck was alive. He also had 2 dogs with him inside. And they talked to the man whose truck was partially submerged in that icy cold water. You can see the truck there in the distance. Search and rescue crew members trained in both ice rescue and swift water rescue used a ladder truck that extended over the pickup to rescue the man.
Hey, we got somebody else over here to help up the hill.
Wow, remarkable. You see the man there being pulled to safety, actually walking himself there. The driver was then taken to the Pinedale Medical Center to be evaluated. Both dogs were saved, and the rescuers, of course, now have a Christmas weekend to remember. Well, haze and cold temperatures statewide are with us until next year, but that's just a few days away now. Meteorologist Dina Friedman is in the First Alert Weather Center. We can say that, and it doesn't sound so bad if we say, oh, next year.
Well, next year, let's hope for some more snow, right? We had a little bit of snow showers earlier tonight here in the north part of Salt Lake and up through North Ogden as well, but now it's just been cloudy for the most part for the past couple of hours. Temperatures currently are in the 30s, around 30 degrees here in Salt Lake, and then we've got some light winds as well. So this morning, though, the story was that it was just very, very cold outside. This morning's low temperatures were well below zero. Bryce Canyon around -10, -13 in Milford, and -7 in Logan. Boy, that's the coldest morning we have seen in quite some time, and it won't be that cold tomorrow morning. Now, with the cloud cover around, it's actually kept our temperatures pretty mild through the evening hours here, if you can consider 30 degrees mild. 15 now in Milford. Hey, that's way warmer than -13, right? All right, so we had a few light snow showers earlier, and that's all part of a bigger system off to the north and west. And while it looks all super impressive, it's actually going to split up and kind of dwindle off in its moisture capacity as it heads into Utah for tomorrow. So we'll see some light snow late tonight into tomorrow morning and through the early part of the day. So we'll talk about how much snow places are going to get. That's all straight ahead.
Coming up on Fox 13 News at 9.
Don't become a patient. That is our absolute #1 request. And if you can do that, we would be forever grateful.
As we end 2020, doctors continue to plea for people to stay safe from COVID-19. We'll get you up to speed on how vaccine distribution is going in our state.
This year, we're just doing it in the plaza, and there'll be about 600 people.
It will be a much smaller New Year's Eve, but still bars say they are elated the 10 p.m. restriction is lifted. We'll give you a glimpse at what downtown Salt Lake City will look like tomorrow. Plus, it is the end of an era. We'll show you the last day for one Idaho town's last video rental store. And 2020 was a year to remember or forget, depending on who you ask. We'll take a look back at the top stories of the year. Welcome back, everyone. An update now. Davis County sheriffs are cautiously optimistic about the early success of a brand new program that puts an emphasis on work and release from jail. The program is designed for low-level and non-violent offenders who would typically serve their sentences by going out into the community for school or work, then going back to jail. COVID-19 made that more challenging, but the pandemic also brought federal CARES Act money. They used some of it to start their ankle monitor release program.
I think it will continue because the work center, the way it was, I'm not sure that will ever come back. Will we house the inmates in here? There was a time we'd have 126 inmates in here coming and going all day long. With COVID and the pandemic, I don't think that will ever happen, especially with the program being as successful as it is. I think it's showing that there's alternatives to incarceration.
The federal CARES Act money allowed them to buy the ankle monitors along with 4 laptops, which lets officers pinpoint where the inmates are and check in with them on a regular basis. In Park City, a man is dead after driving his car into oncoming traffic this morning. UHP says the crash happened on Marsac Avenue. Witnesses say the driver of a Mazda drifted into the wrong lane, hit a pickup truck, and then spun out before it was T-boned by another truck. The 53-year-old driver was wearing a seatbelt. Troopers are still working to figure out what led up to the crash. Utah's first Latino state lawmaker has passed away. John Ulibarri was the first Hispanic student to earn a bachelor's degree from Weber State University. He went on to be a longtime educator and principal in Weber County. He also won his race in 1976 and spent 2 years in the state legislature. He died from Parkinson's disease. He was 81 years old. The family invites people to donate to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research instead of sending flowers. Tomorrow, we will say goodbye to 2020. And while New Year's Eve is known to be one of the largest party days of the year, party nights, we know certainly it will not be the same this year. Fox 13's Sydney Glenn takes a look at how businesses in downtown Salt Lake City are still trying to ring in the new year with a little fun.
The Christmas tree is bare as it comes down, piece by piece.
We're gonna barricade pretty much right where Rockets is. We'll be outside of it.
The Gateway is saying goodbye to Christmas and hello to New Year's Eve. It won't look like this. No crazy crowds around here.
In years past, we had probably 10,000 people throughout the property, a huge block party. We closed the roads. And this year, we're just doing it in the plaza, and there'll be about 600 people.
Those 600 people will stay with their groups in designated areas, here, or even up there, as fireworks shoot into the sky and the music roars. Those who aren't here can watch online.
We wanted to do this in a Salt Lake downtown fashion and do the fireworks show and connect people, whether that's online or in person.
Just a few blocks away, the Sun Trap Bar is also preparing for New Year's Eve.
The level of excitement about being able to actually participate in this New Year's has gone off the charts for our staff.
The barricades are up to keep people safe, and signs reminding people to wear masks hang just about everywhere.
We've gone to a zero tolerance kind of environment at the time. You won't even get a warning if your behavior becomes such that you're putting people at risk. You'll be escorted out quickly.
Both places used to have people shoulder to shoulder. This year, things will look different, but safe as we all say goodbye to 2020.
The last hurrah here at the Gateway is probably going to be one of the biggest events. Now, tickets for this are already sold out, but a spokesperson for the Gateway says that the bars and restaurants here will be open on a first-come, first-served basis. If you do plan to go anywhere tomorrow, you'll likely want to call ahead, as most places are running on limited capacity and have certain things already planned. In downtown Salt Lake City, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A good idea there. And while many of you will be celebrating New Year's Eve a little differently tomorrow night, for Utah Highway Patrol, it's business as usual. Troopers will be working more shifts and longer hours for their DUI blitz, looking for impaired drivers heading to or from New Year's Eve celebrations.
The choice to drive under the influence can destroy lives, from crashes that can cost people their lives to a DUI arrest that can cost someone their job. Choosing to get behind the wheel after drinking is always the wrong choice.
The Utah Highway Patrol is also partnering with Utah auto dealers and Mothers Against Drunk Driving this year to help spread awareness on the dangers of drunk driving. Meteorologist Dina Friedman is in the First Alert Weather Center tonight. Dina, what can all those revelers expect weather-wise for tomorrow?
Yeah, well, we have some light snow coming tomorrow, but it should be out of here by the evening time. Let's take a live look outside right now. We could really use some more fresh snow around. Here's a view from Deer Valley, where we're expecting about an inch or two of snow to affect you tomorrow, and that'll be welcome news because it's been a very dry start to the ski season. Right now, it's a little bit hazy in downtown Salt Lake, 30 in Salt Lake City, 31 in Ogden, and 25 in Provo. Going through the evening here, we still have clouds around and haze, and then we'll have some light snow happening in the morning hours. The air quality, though, unfortunately has not been so great. We still have the orange and yellow marks that are on here throughout Salt Lake City and around in Utah County as well. So poor air quality, but with the cold front coming through, things should change a little bit going into tomorrow. Now, today, it wasn't as cold in the afternoon as it was in the morning. It was below zero in Logan, but now it's 19 there with the cloud cover. 30 in Salt Lake and 30 in Tooele as well. It's in the teens in Preston, Idaho. 26 in Cedar City and 36 in St. George. Still cold in Milford, 15, but this morning's low there was seriously minus 13 degrees. That is really cold. So we've had a few light snow showers earlier ahead of our storm system, so you can see how all of this is starting to come onto shore now. But pieces of this storm are going to split, and we're not going to be left with too much of the moisture. So let's take a look at our future cast here. As the cold front goes through in the morning, we'll start to see some light snow around, as snow totals will be around an inch for most places, a little higher up at higher elevations, and the cold front moves through by the afternoon and then takes everything with it. Now, we may also see some snow in southwestern Utah as well, and some rain in St. George. High pressure moves in, though, for Friday, so that clears everything out. So as far as New Year's Eve plans goes, if you are going to be outside tomorrow evening, it should be dry by then, but be careful with the roads because in the morning they could be a little bit messy in that mid to late morning time. Our forecast snow totals, you can see the light blue colors on here. So those generally light amounts of snow, around an inch, a trace to an inch, and then higher elevations getting a little bit more. So our ski areas getting around 1 to 3 inches of snow, and down in southern Utah at some of our highest elevations as well, we're going to be getting around 1 to 3 inches of snow high up, but mostly just some scattered rain showers in the corner of southwestern Utah. Don't be surprised to see a dusting of snow tomorrow in Kanab as well. So again, there's a closer view of that. So be on the lookout for some road conditions to be just a little bit slick, even though it's not a lot of snow, the roads are cold, so everything will freeze right away. So temperatures tonight will be in the 20s, 23 in Provo tonight, 11 in Park City, and 25 in St. George. So we'll expect some light snow by the morning. It clears out by the second half of the day. So temperatures tomorrow will still be in the 30s, 35 in Salt Lake, 24 in Vernal. You can see it's still warm in St. George, 44 there, so you'll just have some rain mixing in here. So a little bit of rain tomorrow in St. George, and then it's really nice on New Year's Day. Temperatures there in the upper 40s with lots of sunshine and highs around 50 through the weekend, which is nice. So there's that light snow in the forecast for the Wasatch Front. Sunny on New Year's Day, but cold, and a cold New Year's Day morning as well. And then we do have some active weather starting to move in for Sunday all the way through Tuesday in here. So we've got some clouds and then a chance for rain mixing with snow. And then in a Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, this is starting to look like we're going to have a more active pattern going into the later part of next week. So the hope for snow and better air is all coming. But as far as tonight goes and tomorrow morning, the snow totals are pretty minor, but could make for a little bit of a mess on the roads.
We'll see what 2021 brings. Dina, thanks so much. Okay, be kind, rewind, no more. One Idaho town is saying goodbye to their very last video rental store. Can't believe they made it this long. We're going to show you the final farewell. And don't forget, when you can't watch Fox 13 live, you can always watch us streaming online for free. Find us on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Just search Fox 13 on your device. We'll be right back. This is amazing. Today is the end of an era in Preston, Idaho, one that ended for larger cities many, many years ago. Today is the very last day of business for that last video rental store in Idaho. Fox 13's Brian Champagne takes us there.
Okay. They've got stacks of videos, but today they're buying, not renting like they've been doing since 1983.
In the beginning, we opened with 60 VCRs, those heavy, top-loading VCRs that had instructions printed on the bags of how to hook them up.
Adventure Video stayed all video the first 27 years.
10 years ago, when video stores started closing around the country, that's when we opened the Yellow Brick Road consignment shop part and added it to it.
The Crafts helped keep the video rentals afloat through the start of streaming.
Because we're not getting any new movies, you know, COVID closed theaters too, that had an effect, so you know, it's just been a different world.
A world that's tough to see change here.
It's hard moving back to your hometown and see how things change, and to think that I won't get to come into Adventure Video and check out movies anymore.
I worked here my junior and my senior year, and I just loved it so much.
Good memories, but sad that it's gone.
It's not all gone yet.
We have just over 15,000 movies when we started our closing out sale.
And now Lugene is busy clearing out not just the videos, but the Napoleon Dynamite tour stop that welcomed people from around the world.
Starting tomorrow, there will no longer be a place in Preston to dress up as Napoleon Dynamite. This is the town where they shot the movie, but the merchandise will live on.
I think I might, you know, continue to sell this online.
Lugene sold the building to her next door neighbor, a funeral home that will expand.
In January, you'll start to see the face of this redone. It's all going to be resurfaced and become one big building. So super excited about the opportunity.
Lugene looked too busy to be sad today.
I am just grateful. I just am super grateful for 37 years of business.
In Preston, Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Video stores bring back so many good memories. Blasts from the past. Lugene there does plan to continue transferring people's old VHS tapes to DVDs and also selling her Napoleon Dynamite merch online. She says the director of Napoleon Dynamite is one of her best customers.
Coming up after the break.
The latest on Utah's vaccine rollout.
Our first priority is maintaining the health and the integrity of our healthcare networks.
How many doses are now in the state and how many have been administered? Plus, investigators release more details about the bombing in Nashville and the tip they got a year ago. And as 2020 draws to a close, we're taking a look back at Utah's biggest stories of the year. The state of Utah has put in an order for the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine this week in hopes of rolling it out next week. Fox 13's Aaron Cox spoke with state officials and doctors about the next steps in rolling out the vaccine.
Never before has the state of Utah been asked
to distribute such a large number of vaccines all at once, with all eyes on healthcare workers and the much anticipated pandemic relief.
There's a lot of other conditions that they have. They have to take care of patient care. They have to make sure that they don't vaccinate every department within their hospital at the same time.
Dr. Eddie Stenyam, an infectious disease physician with Intermountain Healthcare, has been both vaccinated and the one administering the vaccine to his fellow healthcare workers.
Trying to do our best to make sure that people that are on active shifts, so people that are maybe in the ICU for 5 or 7 days in a row, that they're getting vaccinated at the end of their clinical shift, meaning the end of that 5 or 7 day period. And so then if they do have symptoms, they don't have to come to work.
Challenges that have slowed down the process. So far, more than 100,000 vaccines have been shipped across the state, but only 20,000 have been administered. In Davis County, drive-through clinics allow 28 cars to be vaccinated at a time. They anticipate administering 5,000 doses by the beginning of next week. From the Bear River Health Department, which hosts walk-in clinics for healthcare workers, they anticipate administering 2,300 doses in the next few days.
Our first priority is maintaining the health and the integrity of our healthcare networks. And so that our hospitals aren't so full of patients with COVID-19 that when you or your loved one needs care for whatever reason, is that we're there for you.
Dr. Stenyam says the concept of herd immunity could be attained if 70 to 80% of the population were to get vaccinated, something healthcare workers hope all Utahns will consider.
Don't become a patient. That is our absolute number one request. And if you can do that, we would be forever grateful.
Dr. Stenyam says that new strain of COVID-19 that was discovered in the UK and in Colorado yesterday is more contagious, but not more severe. He says they expect the COVID-19 vaccine to be equally as effective in fighting the second strain as it is the first. In Logan, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Let's take a look at COVID-19 by the numbers in the state. So far, almost 24,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered in Utah. There were more than 2,600 new cases of the virus reported today, putting our statewide total at just under 272,000. We're currently seeing a 25% positivity rate, and 85% of ICU beds right now are filled. 21 more Utahns have passed away from the virus. That's according to new numbers from the state. The victims were all over the age of 45. Utah has now seen 1,256 virus-related deaths. With more people now getting vaccinated, many are looking forward to traveling once again, but you may be required to bring proof of your vaccination to get around. Smartphone apps by CommonPass and IBM are now being created for that purpose, and it would store things like proof of vaccination in a virtual wallet right on your phone. Both companies stress that people's private information would be protected. And for those without a smartphone, a few companies are also working on a smart card that strikes a middle ground between traditional paper vaccine certificates and an online version that's easier to store and reproduce. The actress who played Marianne on Gilligan's Island has passed away after being infected with COVID-19. Dawn Wells was Miss Nevada in 1959 before launching her career in Hollywood. Wells' death leaves Tina Louise, who played Ginger, as the last surviving cast member of that iconic TV show. Could the Christmas Day bombing in Nashville, Tennessee have been prevented? That's the big question investigators in Tennessee right now are looking into tonight. Police are releasing new details about a tip they received last year when the girlfriend of bombing suspect Anthony Warner warned them that he was building explosives. Our sister station in Nashville also spoke with an attorney who warned police about Warner.
I made a report on the spot for him to get checked out. I did all I knew that I could do. And she was so convincing that morning and so distraught that I decided in her front yard in the middle of all those police officers on the spot that even though it was a former client of mine, that somebody needed to go check him out right then.
Although Warner was the only person killed in the blast, more than 40 businesses were damaged by the explosion. Now some of those struggling businesses are shut down once again and are asking Nashville's mayor for financial help. Taking a quick look at Wall Street tonight, the Dow finished today at an all-time high at 30,409. Investors are optimistic due to AstraZeneca's vaccine being authorized in the UK. Also, stimulus checks coming soon to Americans. The Nasdaq Composite and the S&P 500 also saw modest gains today. Well, it's looking unlikely the U.S. Senate will pass a bill increasing federal COVID relief checks to $2,000. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said late today he will not separate the checks from two other requests from President Donald Trump. The president wants to repeal an internet free speech law and to create a commission to investigate the 2020 election. Most Democrats, they oppose both ideas, and most Republicans oppose the increased stimulus. Still, though, Americans should check their bank account because you've already received some of the money. The original $600 stimulus through direct deposit started going out last night. Meantime, some people may have to pay back unemployment benefits. Unemployed Utahns can seek insurance benefits from the state of Utah, but there's also pandemic unemployment assistance under the CARES Act. The fully funded federal program helps those who are not eligible for unemployment insurance, such as the self-employed. Now, to receive benefits, all claimants have to ask questions or answer those questions weekly in order to prove eligibility.
If a person answers those correctly, we will make a decision of eligibility. But if they answer them incorrectly or falsely attest to their situation, it absolutely is possible that people will have to pay back both unemployment as well as the pandemic unemployment assistance.
That's Kevin Burt. He says the most common violation is when someone returns to work and then doesn't report it. They are required to say how much they worked and how much money they made. Now, they may still be eligible for benefits, at least part of it, at a prorated amount. Still ahead, 2020 is just about over. After the break, we will show you some of the biggest stories of an unforgettable year. Well, you already know this. 2020 will go down in history as the year of the pandemic, but there were so many other events that shaped our lives in 2020, from protests to earthquakes. Fox 13's Bob Evans has a look back at just a few of Utah's biggest news stories of the year.
The wing hit the top of one of these townhomes, and then the plane came down into the parking lot.
On January 15th, a plane crashed in Roy, nearly hitting several houses. Pilot David Good was killed, but no one on the ground was injured.
Someone on one of the Facebook groups said that they've never seen a community so sad in their life.
Police say a 16-year-old boy shot and killed his mother and 3 siblings in their Grantsville home on January 17th. The father was also shot but survived. The teen faces multiple felony charges.
I acknowledge that my verdict will not remove the president from office.
On February 6th, Utah's Mitt Romney voted to impeach President Trump, becoming the first senator in U.S. history to vote to remove a president of his own political party.
K-9 Hondo did his job, and because of that, Sergeant Ricks gets to go home to his family.
On February 13th, police K-9 Hondo was shot and killed during a fugitive arrest. The city of Harriman gave the service dog a first-class service. At the beginning of March, Utahns were just starting to wrap their heads around something called the coronavirus.
It hasn't affected me too much yet.
I'm not sick or anything, but I have seen a lot of impact on the stock market, interest rates.
Utah's first death was reported on March 22nd. By year's end, the pandemic had claimed more than 1,200 lives.
I've never been in an earthquake before, and I never want to go again.
A 5.7 magnitude earthquake rattled northern Utah on March 18th. Buildings were damaged, including businesses, homes, and schools. Aftershocks continued for weeks. By April, teachers, students, and parents were adapting to online learning as in-person classes at every grade level were canceled due to the pandemic. Former Jazz head coach and NBA icon Jerry Sloan passed away on May 22nd from complications of Parkinson's disease.
Dear Lord, we humbly come before you and thank you for giving us Nate Lyday.
Officer Nathan Lyday was killed in the line of duty in Ogden on May 28th. He was responding to a 911 call on a report of domestic violence.
In a world full of hate, be the light like Nathan did. I love you, son.
Protests over racial inequality took place all over the country and here in Utah. The biggest was in Salt Lake City on May 30th. During the chaos, a police car was overturned and set on fire. More than 40 people were arrested on various charges. More peaceful demonstrations and calls for equality continued into June and through the summer.
I want them to do something about this so I don't have to worry about my younger brother and my older brother and my nephews anymore.
This is the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We are supposed to be physically distancing, wearing masks, and so...
On July 15th, the Utah County Commissioners meeting was cut short after dozens of people, upset by the governor's mask mandate in K-12 schools, protested by not wearing masks.
Most of this seems located in the central part of St. George. We'll continue to assess the damage.
In August, flash floods caused widespread damage in St. George. A sinkhole in a Ramada Inn parking lot even swallowed a car.
Both teams have decided they're not playing tonight. I apologize on behalf of CSC and RSL.
On August 26th, Real Salt Lake players refused to play as a demonstration for social justice and racial equality. Owner Deloy Hansen criticized his team the next day on a radio program. Allegations of racist behaviors by Hansen soon followed, and Hansen announced he would sell the team.
Stop! Get on the ground! Knock it off!
On September 4th, a 13-year-old boy with autism was shot by police in Salt Lake City after his mother called 911 to ask for help with the mentally disturbed boy.
As the mother of a 14-year-old boy, I am profoundly heartbroken.
Mayor Mendenhall called the incident another tragedy. The boy is recovering. His family has filed a lawsuit. On September 8th, hurricane-strength winds battered northern Utah, toppling hundreds of trees and knocking out power. Salt Lake, Davis, and Weber counties were especially hard hit. After years of construction, Phase 1 of the new Salt Lake International Airport opened in September.
No. I'm being scary.
A wild encounter in Utah County went viral in October. 26-year-old Kyle Burgess recorded as a female cougar escorted him out of a canyon and away from her cubs. The Utah Jazz were sold for more than $1.5 billion in October. Utah County tech innovator Ryan Smith is the new owner. Key players Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have since signed 5-year contract extensions. In November, Utah's only Democratic congressman, Ben McAdams, lost his bid for re-election to Republican Burgess Owens by less than 4,000 votes. A monolith mystery in southern Utah enchanted the world after images of it circulated in December, prompting copycats around the globe. No one knows who illegally placed the monolith. It has since been removed by a group of men who say they hope it'll be displayed in a more fitting and legal location.
Wanted to use that symbol to kind of promote the idea of what it kind of stood for people.
And after months of anticipation, the first doses of COVID-19 vaccine were distributed in Utah. Health officials warn COVID-19 will continue to claim lives for months, but the vaccine offers hope the pandemic will come to an end at some point. Bob Evans, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, good evening. We do have some showers around, and then we also have more clouds as well. So a storm is on the way for New Year's Eve, but today we just mostly had a cloudy afternoon and temperatures were only in the 30s. The records on this date are 61 and a record low of -9, our sunrise at 7:52. So coming up after the break, we'll talk about the storm, when it's going to be here, and how much snow people are going to get.
And coming up in sports, we'll hear from the Utes and Aggies before tomorrow's college basketball games. A BYU football player is headed to the NFL, and I'll tell you why Mike Conley's teammates are very grateful for him during this holiday season.
Hey everyone, so glad you're with us tonight. Dina, I'm glad you're here as well. It's been a big weather week as we wrap up the year. And start a new one.
It could be bigger. Just saying. Just saying. We could use a really good storm around here, especially up high at Deer Valley, where we've just had very light snow lately, and we're still going to get very light snow tomorrow, but it sure is a pretty picture on a Wednesday night. Downtown, we've had some air pollution and hazy skies, but mostly cloudy conditions. 30 in Salt Lake, 31 in Ogden, and in the 20s in Provo. We started off the day, though, with clear skies and downright frigid air. Earlier this morning, it was minus 13 in Milford and minus 10 at Bryce Canyons. Temperatures were around 0 in Manti as well. It was minus 7 in Logan. Wow, that is just cold. It has been cold around here. The last few days have been below average. Average is 37. We have only been in the lower 30s. It's still only around 30 right now in Salt Lake, 21 in Park City, and 20 in Evanston. So we had some cloud cover today. It didn't get terribly warm, and now we're up to a balmy 15 in Milford, although that's a lot warmer than minus 13, right? 26 in Cedar City and 36 right now in St. George. The first part of the day started off with sunshine, and then we had increasing cloud cover, and we even saw some showers in Weber County earlier tonight and up in Cache County as well, just some very light snow. And now our area of low pressure, you can see it looks, you know, the bark is bigger than the bite, is that how the saying goes. You can see the area of low pressure here, the upper level low circulation with this and some of the moisture coming on shore. But what's going to happen here is this storm kind of splits up and just dries right out when it gets to Utah. No, it's not totally dry. We're still going to have some snow, but it won't be significant. It will be significant enough to mess up the roads because any snow that we get on the cold roadways in the morning will make for a sloppy morning commute. So we do have that cold front coming through in the morning, and then it moves out of here by the afternoon. But notice that we'll see some snow showers around for much of the state, but our snow totals are pretty low. High pressure moves in for Friday and turns everything off. So look at our snow total map for by tomorrow evening. Now, some of this starts in the morning, and the areas that you see in darker blue, higher amounts of snow at higher elevations. Generally speaking, most places a trace to an inch. So just be on the lookout for that scattered snow shower activity tomorrow. And some higher elevations in southwestern Utah also getting around 1 to 3 inches. So some of this could be a problem for tomorrow morning and especially up to about lunchtime tomorrow. So some light snow moving in by the morning time. It'll be here morning, mid-morning, second part of the day, it'll be gone. But temperatures tonight cold enough to support snow in most areas of the state. 24 in Salt Lake. It is cold. You already know that. It's 25 in St. George. You could even see a few snowflakes mixing in tomorrow, but generally you should just see some rain in the early, around lunchtime is what we want to say there. And then 35 degrees here in Salt Lake. So the snow will move out by the second half of the day. Just be on the lookout for that scattered snow shower activity in the morning. Southern Utah then, you got that chance of rain, but by New Year's Day, it's out of here, and then you have pretty nice weather around 50 degrees. And then for the Wasatch Front, there's that light snow. High elevations like Big Cottonwood Canyon getting around 1 to 3 inches as well, so that'll be a nice refresher. And then mostly sunny and just cold for New Year's Day, but an active weather pattern in the middle of next week, so it looks like our chances for precipitation are increasing. Just be careful out there. It is going to be light snow, but it could be a little bit sloppy.
BYU scheduled basketball games for tomorrow at Pepperdine has been postponed due to positive COVID-19 tests within the Pepperdine team. The Cougars are scheduled to play next on Saturday at San Diego. The Utes will also be in Southern California this weekend. They'll play at UCLA on Thursday and USC on Saturday. The Utes were just 1-9 on the road last season, but there will not be any fans in the stands in Pac-12 play this season, taking away some of the home court advantage.
The fans are not going to affect the game at all anymore. It's just going to be about the team who plays the hardest and is ready to go from the tip. That's kind of the mentality we have to bring on the road, and that was something that we might have missed last year.
I just think there's going to be a lot more parity. It's not a factor on the road to go on the road and have to overcome some of the arenas that we play in and some of the loudness and, you know, the energy, and that's a big fun part of the game for the home team typically.
The Aggies will also play tomorrow on New Year's Eve with the first of 2 straight games on the road at Air Force. The Aggies are off to a 2-0 start in Mountain West play, but road games at Air Force are always tough.
We have not fared well at Air Force the last 3 years. We've lost two of the last 3 at their place, including last year, where they drubbed us pretty good. So it'll be our first road test, second road trip of the year, and And Clune Arena it's a great basketball venue. It's a difficult place to play. Obviously, it's a little different with the fan situation this year.
Market throws down and done. BYU left tackle Brady Christensen has announced he will skip his senior season and enter the NFL draft. Brady was just named a first-team All-American by the Associated Press, and ESPN has the Bountiful High School graduate ranked as the 9th best offensive tackle prospect in the country. Check this tweet out from Utah football thanking BYU for sending these items that honored the life of Ty Jordan, who passed away last week. It's a classy move by the Cougars in this rivalry. Hey, Jazz point guard Mike Conley, known for his charity in the NBA and around the country. Well, his teammates are also thankful for his charitable acts. Conley gave every player on the Jazz team a PlayStation 5, and as many of you know, that was a tough gift to give and get.
That was love, great Christmas gift. Everybody's kind of been thirsting over those, and just glad we were able to have a teammate to give us those and gift us those. Mike's probably the biggest gift giver that I done had.
Honestly, have no idea actually what it does. I know it plays video games, but I don't actually know what else it does. So I might just keep it myself. But no, I'm not a video game guy, but Mike Conley is a very, very good teammate.
Joe called it a $2,000 DVD player. The Jazz play tomorrow night at home against the Phoenix Suns. We'll be right back.
Finally tonight, we leave you with this. A welcome return in Wasatch County. This is always fun. The Midway Ice Castles are back. The popular attraction just opened tonight. And of course, they do have COVID precautions in place to make it safe for everyone. Otherwise, visitors who make a reservation can enjoy the beauty of the brand new maze rooms and the tunnels that they've created for this season. Really something to see if you haven't before. It's really cool sight.
Yeah, dress warm if you're going up there. It is really cold out, and there'll even be some fresh snow on those ice castles tomorrow.
Cold for us, but the ice castles are loving it in all their glory. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Don't go anywhere. QuickCast is up next.